Got it. So what was the sentence? Come here to work with excellence?
Come here, don't come to work. Come here to create excellence.
To create excellence. And how long did he stay as your mentor? How many years?
3.5 years.
3.5 years you worked under him.
Yeah, and he formed my life and everyone. When he said create excellence, he meant don't come here to fulfill a function. Come here for a high intent. Your function, and I'm zealous about that today. I wouldn't hire people to fulfill a function. I hire them for purpose, for high intent. He, for example, he made it very clear, our function may be to bring and serve food and beverage. Our intent is to instill well-being in people. So that, for my life, I don't do anything without purpose. And I think you're not, in fact, I make it very, very clear, and I use the same phrase than he did. The chairs on which you sit are fulfilling a function. You are a human being. You don't fulfill a function without purpose. And I find it even immoral that we as companies hire people to fulfill a function rather than to join us in our vision and our purpose.
On a vision, a mission, a purpose, something bigger than us.
Purpose, that's right.
So you picked that up from him. Did you spend a lot of time with that general manager or not that much?
None,
You were more spending time because the general manager was the guy.
Once in a while he passed by and said, good morning.
How serious was he? Was that a very common thing in Germany? Super serious, super disciplined. Were those the qualities?
Yes, absolutely.
I lived in Germany for a year and a half.
Absolutely.
In Erlangen. I was in Erlangen, right outside of Nuremberg.
Yeah.
And it was in 1989 to 1990, and I went to school for 2 years. You know, it was a very, military-like, Achtung, it was a very, be ready for it.
Sure.
It was a different intensity you got from them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Even right now, our son plays soccer, and we have an option to sending 2 different places, to Germany or to Spain. All the coaches are sending Germany is more disciplined. Spain, he'll learn the game, but he'll have fun. But Germany is very much, you better get your act together. Yeah. Yes. So what happens after that? So what happens? You're there for 3.5 years. What do you do next?
And next, it was pretty common and also recommended again from that head waiter to work seasons in various great hotels in Europe. So I went out and worked in Bern, in the Bellevue Palace, one of the great hotels of the world, in Lausanne, in the Bourgeois Palace. I worked Holland America Line for 8 months. I worked in Paris. I stayed there 2.5 years in the Plaza Athénée, which was one of the great hotels in the world. Worked in the Savoy in London. And in the Savoy, as I worked as a waiter, a guest said, "You're a great waiter. Do you want to come to America?" And I said, "Sure." Now, if he would have said Zimbabwe, I would have said sure too.
You just wanted to leave?
No,
wanted an opportunity?
I was young.
Yeah. How old were you at that time?
Capture the world. And at that time, I was 23.
Okay. 23. Okay.
Capture the world.
Sure.
Be and see the world. Capture the world. Learn new things. So he said, all right, give me your name. I will send you papers. We are opening a new hotel in Houston. And once you get the papers, go to the embassy. And that's what I did. And in the embassy, so they, at that time, immigrant at that time, me, I went through a physical, careful physical. I went to an oral test. I went to a written test. Yes. And in the evening, they gave me some...
Get a job.
Yes. And in the evening, they gave me some papers and asked me, when will you go to America? And I said, when I get my papers. And he said, you have them in your hand. And then I took the ship on which I had worked as a passenger.
Stop it.
Yeah.
So you go with the ship to the States.
Yeah. Oh, at the time, there were no planes at the time.
Right. Makes sense.
Basically.
Makes sense. I keep forgetting you're born in 39.
Yeah.
Times are different when you're born in 39. You know, it's a very different world. When was the first time? I remember you said that when you first started working at the hotel, you're like, I wanted to work in luxury. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to meet these interesting people, powerful people. Who was the first person you met that was a celebrity that you recognized saying, oh my God?
A very famous Sepan, who was a very famous soccer player before that.
Sepan.
That was more important than, I met all the politicians of the time, if that was Adenauer or Haus, and so at the time, everybody was there. That was the hotel where you were, was that one. And the general manager was right. The guests sitting there, all of them were important. That was the place to be. And it was at the same time a spa hotel and so on. So when I met Sepan, that was a meeting, a great famous soccer player was more important than meeting all the others.
Of course, politicians, the leaders.
Sure.
Yeah.
Later, for example, I worked in the late 50s, 60 in Paris, and you name it. If it was Soraya at the time, or Chris Kelly, or Gary Cooper, I served them all.
Grace Kelly.
Grace Kelly, absolutely.
Did you ever serve Onassis?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. I served them all. The Begum, and so on. And those were the guests.
What did you notice? Was there a pattern? What you noticed with this life of the rich and famous? What patterns did you notice with
Well, the
them?
pattern was that we who served them didn't really exist.
Got it. Was that the mindset or was that the reality?
That
Like,
was the reality because they were so used to people. We were just there. But that was okay with me. I had no problem with that.
interesting. Got it. Because at that time, you're not yet Horst Schulze. You're just
Yeah.
a young man working there.
I wanted to, and I knew that when I was dreaming about it, and that I was take care of very important people, and one or the other recognizes you. And I had an experience of this. When I worked, the first day I worked actually in the restaurant where I started. There were a couple sitting there, and they saw, of course, my beginning, that my knees were shaking and so on. And the gentleman told me, "Oh, come here, you're doing a great job," and gave me 5 mark, which was a huge amount of tip at the time.
This is what year?
That was 1954. That was a huge amount of money, and so, but the encouragement of that moment
Is what mattered.
was traumatic.
Unbelievable. Just to see that somebody is encouraging you, even though you think you're nervous. Was he somebody or was he just a businessman?
I had no idea.
You had no idea who it was. So it wasn't a famous person.
No.
Was there any famous person that was super complimentary that left an impression on you when you were younger? Who was the kindest to you?
Well, probably because we're told so, I'm not quite sure. There was Konrad Adenauer, who was a guest several times there, always with others, and of course security around them. But he looked at you and said, "Good morning." He looked at you,
Got it.
and he didn't just pass you by.
You existed.
You actually felt that you existed.